an achievement if you play the Serenity or the Endless mode. There is an achievement on it where you know what I mean. You actually you beat the game or and you find relics, and every time you find a relic, there is some form of secret message in it. So the last you have you managed to get the relics?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
have not played it.
You haven't played in a
I've
while.
not played it enough to get the relics.
Yo, what's up, Nameless?
Talking about achievement called Chimeric,
Yeah, I think that's it.
but
Let me.
no, I guess this achievement just ruined the game on Serenity.
I'm gonna look that achievement up. I saw it a while ago, and I was looking at it in the Is this the image?
Wait, I can send you.
Ye-
1 second.
You found about like that sulfuric acid that you thought that someone said that it would damage it, then actually made the world go really cold.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. But the thing is that the information right underneath the relic says that we have no actual proof that this was the actual thing that caused the deep freeze. So it's like people
Yeah, but
think,
it's
yeah, go on, I'm listening.
yeah because yeah. Oh,
Check out
Oost.
Frostpunk chat.
Yeah, because I would think that if that was the case, it would
Hmm.
mean that actually the thing is like that they had to have like fucking a shit ton of it already. But the Industrial Revolution was happening in 1800 or something.
Yeah,
Forgot when that actually happened. But if the Industrial Revolution really did already have that much shit going, it would have it would have taken them even without like if you look at it now, the world is still warming up, even if the Industrial Revolution is still going. But according to my knowledge, the game says that actually the whole world was frozen over because a giant volcano exploded or like erupted, causing a lot of like steam and haze and other debris to fly through the sky, making the sky very dusty, like making it just a second, like the third coming of ice of the
hmm,
ice age.
yeah. That's one thing I actually do know that actually did happen, because if you watch the movie The Day After Tomorrow and you combine it with the volcanoes, and I'm sure you've heard of the city of Pompeii and the volcano over there. We all know,
Yes, I've surely had.
yeah. So we all know
That
that,
is buried under the fucking lava.
yeah, it turned everybody into living sculptures. So so that
Yeah.
so we know for a fact that there is no way that industries alone would cause this unless it's on like 21st century level, like China and the United States and other countries around the world. But you'd have to have like
Mm.
7 billion people to do something like that.
Yeah.
So I can't see it as being the secret weapon on our secret mission found on day 66 by this Reddit user. He collected 8 out of 15 relics at the time, and I guess they're just ordered randomly. But it's not something, cause it says here, I'm gonna read it back down here. Our operatives have failed to uncover any conclusive evidence of the mere existence, much less use of this alleged doomsday weapon or chemical. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're saying it's a doomsday weapon, but when I was reading the document about it from atmospheric chemistry and physics from 1850 to 2005, if this weapon was to be used, it would have been used to kill crops and damage areas where people would live. So it would be something to harm countries that were entirely dependent on agriculture and the
Yeah.
cultivation. Yeah,
It's basically, I think, isn't that okay? Could you send that to me in a DM?
yeah, I
That the
could.
word, because I think it's also just made by. stuffing coal into an oven.
You know, that's a possibility. I'm gonna send
Like
that.
if you burn coal, like that's what we did in the old ages. We burned coal and created steampunk things. But coal, I think, makes that stuff that you talked about.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I sent it to you. Did you get it?
Yes, I did. Wait a minute. Uh, wait a minute. Okay, looking.
That is one of the things that I'm saying. If it is that they
Ah,
you found it.
yes, and because I found one in Dutch and in English, I'm going to do the English one. But it is like it's called zwavel or sulfur,
Uh-huh.
which is a very like not this is a very shitty thing because this stuff is like it basically just damages everything that touches.
Right. So it's acidic basically.
Yeah, sulfur is an acid. It's a
Right.
gaseous acid, but it is mostly used in the production of like giant bombs and yeah, how it's called. And there's most you could also say I don't know if it's used in toxic gas
I'm seeing
because
some.
it's a toxic gas on its own right.
It is.
Yeah, it's a toxic gas with a burn match smell. It is released naturally by volcanic activity and is produced as a byproduct of burning of fossil fuels contaminated with sulfur compounds in copper extraction. So when we're extracting copper and burning coal, we release giant amounts of sulfur dioxide into the air.
So basically, again, it's either the volcanoes or industrial activity. So then that basically means then that it wasn't a secret weapon or anything like that, and it was just really the production of the steam cores that actually caused. We know that wires use copper as because copper is conductive of electricity.
Yes.
So they use that and they use steel, so the smelting of it and the use of the coal and then the volcanoes. It's adding up to being a combination of elements instead of it just being one thing. So
Yes.
and the fact that it is so acidic and it kills anything it touches, it kind of explains why nature failed altogether. Because nothing can stand up to something so acidic. I don't know of anything that can.
Yeah, it's basically like a giant. It's basically if you the hazard is the corrosion. Yeah, it's a corrosion. The corrosion of this blame of this. Yeah, wait a minute. This stuff can corrode anything. So it's basically if you pour it on something, it will corrode that, and they basically just burn through it, sort of.
Yeah,
Just like it will kill any kind of animal that actually gets
that
it inside itself.
that gets it inside itself. So more than likely, as the document was saying about aquatic life, that means that it would be probably absorbed by the fish through the skin or whatever the gills or whatever it is, and it
Yes.
combining with that kills them. But then the real areas where such a thing is actually released is near volcanic eruptions that are close to the ocean, or like volcanic fumes or ash plumes that actually land close by, and that would kill everything in the surrounding area.
Yeah,
But
that's why you have China. China is basically one giant sulfur dioxide mine, sulfur dioxide farm, because it basically China still known for using 80% of its energy comes from fossil fuel energy plants.
true.
And what do fossil fuel energy plants do? They produce a fuck ton of sulfur
Sulfur oxide.
dioxide. And what is sulfur dioxide not good for? Your lungs. And what are your
Right.
lungs used for? Not dying.
Not dying. So
Like
that means that the individuals within the cities are actually killing.
basically, you will. It's basically killing everything.
Yeah. So in a sense, the individuals burning the coal from the generator are to an extent inhaling that every day. But then if that
Yes.
mechanic
So if you do that, if you have a job and a cool like, if you like doing cool into the machine, you're basically breathing in large amount of sulfur dioxide, which damage your lungs very badly. If you do that, your lungs get dead, and when your lungs is dead, then you can't breathe anymore. And when you can't breathe anymore, you're dead.
You're dead as well. So, I mean, it just opening up this thing about the anthropogenic sulfur dioxide emissions to an extent, it kind of opens up another can of worms as it relates to the generator tower itself, which might just break the game's lore and everything else around it. Not a good idea. But the thing is that it's a very very well known fact that during the 19th to 20th century there was a lot of coal used in the fireplaces of many of the people living in England and its surrounding areas. That is a
Yeah,
yeah, that
but,
is a given fact.
but yeah, the thing is, this but actually, sulfur dioxide has a boiling point of -10 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Sulfur dioxide.
Right.
Yeah, it has a boiling point of -10 degrees, and the temperature is always -20 or -30 in your games.
So then
So
that might be a blocker to it actually becoming an issue then.
because actually, it's like probably boiling inside of the generator when you're putting coal into it.
Yeah. And you
Because
can
it's the gas that it released gets is like boiling in the air. So if you're next to it, basically all the gas and you could also just literally get the gas out of the generator and kill someone with it. Because
that
it's boiling, and B, it's actually very fucking cold. Like it's -10 at all the time when it's boiling. And something boiling at minus temperatures is not good.
not
You don't
good
want to
at
be close to
all.
that.
You don't want to be close to it at all. At all, at all. But
So yeah,
I'm just looking into it and I'm thinking about it and I'm wondering to myself if this thing will actually become an issue in the game, or maybe 11-bit might say, oh, there is this special technology that the city uses to actually, like a gas pipe. Maybe there is a pipe inside of the city that somehow funnels this gas somewhere else. So it the generator actually does not emit the sulfur dioxide, but instead transports it via a pipe somewhere else. That's the only way I could see it actually not becoming an issue and breaking the lore. But the fact
yeah,
that
because
yeah, go on, I'm listening.
yeah, the thing is, there's actually if you look at the city itself, there is actually a pipe in all the fucking roadways. If you
Yes,
walk on it, there's a pipe in there. So you could say that the pipe going somewhere that is going through like the through the underway, or like the streets that you make towards somewhere else, because the boiling, like the fucking melting point of the shit. I don't even know how it melts. I don't do chemistry, but its melting point is 72 degrees Celsius minus. So it's like, but
shit.
it isn't. It's a gas. How does it melt?
How does that melt? Well, physics and chemistry is a weird area, and it's not
Yeah,
understood by a lot of us. That is true, but the fact that it
but
melt,
yes,
yeah. So it melts, which is interesting in a way. I find that very interesting that it melts. But if
yeah.
it
If you
does,
pump it into the ice walls, then it wouldn't kind of melt with the ice,
it would
sort
melt
of.
with the ice. So then maybe it's probably as a like a gas when it comes out the generator, and at some point in time it's then transported or exported to somewhere outside of the city that we can't see. But the thing is about these generator towers is that these things are built into the ground. So it might be released somewhere into the ground or somewhere far out, as I was saying, via the pipes.
Yes,
So
because most of them are built into like a sheltered location because that makes more sense than putting it somewhere far up. Because if a storm comes, If the storm winds are strong enough, they could literally blow over the fucking generator.
Oh, I got some news for you. So I was doing some more investigation. I was gonna put this into a lore video. Was like, nah. And the craters that you see in every single city, it's scientifically studied and designed. So every city has to be in a crater. If it's not in a crater, then there's no chance that anything can actually be built because the winds on the outside
Yeah.
of the city itself are capable of blowing down anything and everything, and then it insta freezes anything it comes into contact with. Think of it like cotton candy and sugar. You know, sugar and the how cotton candy is made. Yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of effect happens, and it kills everything. But then there are creatures, as we know, that can survive that. But I'm not going to go into that. But
Yeah, it's
it
basically like putting cotton candy into your mouth. If you put it in your mouth, it comes in
in
contact with the saliva in your mouth and it just melts.
it melts and then it binds together. So that's another thing about it. It's traveling so fast that it binds to you whatever it touches, and then it expands. And if you're like a human, then it basically explodes every single cell in your body at the same time.
The generators, it's a bit weird
It's a bit weird in the
because,
way of how it's constructed.
like, no, I'm not talking about that, but like, if you think about it, the craters that the generators in are bigger than the generator's radius. And you would
Yes,
think that the size of that the side of the crater would have been noted by the generator's heat.
true. Well, the thing is, about the crater being larger than the generator itself, its radius, is that their idea was that we're going to excavate a large enough area that we can expand out into. But at the same time, we want to ensure that if the walls cave in, there's a less likely chance it will kill a large group of the population. You see where I'm going?
Yeah,
So that's probably one of the reasons, or not probably, that's one of the major reasons why they built the generators and they excavated the areas like that. I kind of find it very interesting that they actually built structures in such a way that they were actually a dent in the earth, but then it explains the reason why they would have excavated and done so much, because the scientific reports said that Arctic conditions are about, let's see, less than 100% of the effect of the frostland, because frostland conditions can insta freeze land dreadnoughts. And you know how huge those things are based on the endless
yes,
mode. So the frostland can insta freeze an Arctic land dreadnought. So there are multiple variants of this machine, and you have come across them being frozen by the frostland. And there's also the information about when you construct certain things in the frostland. Like, let's say, for example, I build a house outside of the city. It might not fall, but then
yeah,
I won't be able to complete the structure because of the weather conditions above. So I guess the crater itself acts as a shield, which is kind of amazing that they actually managed to use nature in such a form that it was able to carry the wind across it, but it wouldn't allow the wind to actually have a drastic effect on the individuals inside of the crater, even though the temperatures
yeah,
fall to minus 150. But I mean, the fact that you
yes,
said, yeah, the temperature, you're saying that the sulfur dioxide, it melts at minus 70, right?
yes, it does, and it's fucking cold.
If it melts at,
Like,
go on,
yeah, no, go on. I was just like doing saying, yeah,
I'm listening.
uh, you can go on.
Oh, okay. So if it freezes at minus 72, or if it melts, then it probably is a gas before, if I got it right. Am I
Yes,
correct? And if it's a gas
It is
before,
that would be assumed because that's how
Hello,
it usually
guys.
works.
hello,
Oh, jeez, guys.
Rainbow. What's up, man?
Rainbow Lord. Yeah, I'm a pony. I love ponies. Yeah. I heard your conversation about the generator and the gas pipe being
Yeah,
out the city. Well, I have another theory that is very funny.
go on. Let's hear it.
Yes.
Okay, you know that in the first episode, A New Home.
Yeah,
You know that episode?
yeah.
Yes.
I find some structure that is a little bit weird, but it's really outside. You can't, as you say, you can't really see it. But somewhere in the snow, there's a pipe that will lead out of the gas. But I thought, wait, if the gas goes there, you have one generator. Maybe there are two generators in the frost land.
Well, yes, there's a possibility that there are two generators in the Frostland, but are you saying it's
Well, one generator leads out the the gas, the straight coal gas. I don't know how it's called, but oh yeah, carbon dioxide, and the other generator filters it, so that the main generator has actually no harm to the people.
interesting concept? So you're saying
Um,
that there's a you mean like a actual generator, or you're saying like it has an internal system that does that? Is that what you're saying, or you're saying there are two generators in?
Yeah, one pipe. You said the generator was built in the ground. Well, one pipe of the generator that produces the carbon dioxide leads out to another seed that burns up the carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
getting heat as well. In the Frostland, in endless mode, I came up with that idea, at least 5 days ago when I started playing this. I came up with radical theories, but I rather don't talk about it.
yes.
You can share your radical theories right here, man. There's nothing wrong with
Thanks, man.
Yes.
I have my own channel, Rainbow Lord, but you know the article for. Yeah, I won't go into this shit.
that.
Everyone knows about it by now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but you can literally share your radical theories in Frostpunk.
Yeah,
Thanks.
man, you can
Thank
share
you.
any idea that you want, man, anytime. That was interesting of there being like two generators in the city. That is a cool idea, or a take on the lore itself, because two generators, and it explains away a lot of the no-nos in terms of the survival of people and having carbon dioxide being released too close to people. I mean, that is an insta kill if not regulated properly. So that is cool.
Yeah,
That is a
you know those pipes that goes
yeah. There
in the
so
ground. Those
yeah.
are releasing to another generator.
Yeah. You wait, come to think of it, it could be that it's just one large structure, but then there's an underground area in terms of the generator extends a bit further into the ground, and then those pipes would like defrost the sulfur dioxide and funnel out the carbon dioxide. And then what's being released out of the tower itself is the steam. Yeah, that makes sense.
You got what I'm saying.
Yep. That makes sense because it's steampunk, and the whole idea is to create heat and energy, and it kind of goes in line with what the steam cores actually do and the generator itself. That basically means that what we thought of as probably inferior technology is actually superior to 2020, not 2020, like 2000 technology in terms of steam core and steam technology, because these guys were able to funnel out carbon dioxide so easily and create heat without actually affecting uh, the inhabitants of the civilization. But Rainbow, that is a interesting and radically cool idea.
Yeah,
Keep going,
I
bro.
am I am a gamer my whole life. I played a lot of Command and Conquer. That is why I'm so smart with some games and with the logic. If it don't make sense,
Yeah,
I will make it sense.
yeah. That is actually cool. I actually never actually went into such detail about it, but that is an amazing idea. So you've just started playing Frostpunk, or have you been playing it for a good little while now?
No, 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 no. I'm on my Steam right now. I can actually tell how long I am playing Frostpunk. I'm playing for Frostpunk 42 hours. I have invested 42 hours in
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 the
the
game.
game.
That's not bad. But that's not bad. That is pretty cool, cool, man. I've been playing this thing for over 100 hours.
Well, I have played Hearts of Iron almost a year in Steam because it's 994 hours.
9994.
Yeah, in Hearts of Iron 4, but yeah.
That is cool though. That is interesting. I've been actually searching through a lot of the information about the game and some of the content as it because earlier before you jumped on we were talking about this secret mission in the endless mode, this relic that some guy found, and he was saying on Reddit this is the real answer as to why the storm has occurred. And I had to look into it, and that's where the sulfur dioxide, let me look for the actual proper name for it.
Yeah, the
The
sulfur dioxide.
yeah, correct, the anthropogenic sulfur dioxide. That's where that came from, Rainbow. And immediately after that,
Basically the sulfur dioxide, which is a byproduct
mhm,
of burning fossil fuels. And what are we doing in Frostpunk? We are burning coal, and coal is a fossil fuel.
mhm.
You know, in endless mode, there's an infinite amount of coal in the
Yes,
mines.
there is an
Yes,
infinite amount of coal in the mines, but that's because people never mined in the in the Antarctic.
the thing.
And
Now, well, in the Arctic, some people, you know, the research stations in this year
yeah, but
in the
they would have
Arctic.
hacked like maybe 100 pieces, like maybe they wouldn't have hacked that much because a generator takes a shit ton more coal than this, and there's an easy like the small heating device they had in those weather stations and stuff like that.
The thing is with the weather stations is that these stations were actually built with a steam core in them. So there's
Mm.
also the thing where no one has actually said where the resource comes from to maintain the heat within these buildings. So that means that either these buildings like a ventilate, it does hold on, Swagger John, I just saw it. It does look like a ventilation thing, but from what I'm getting from it, it is actually it's another chamber underneath. So it adds to what he was saying. A portion of it is actually built into the ground. So that
But
is
yeah,
go on.
it's true.
It is built into the ground. But what were you saying now, Rainbow? We almost lost track of it.
Oh, I did not. Well, that secret mission you were talking about, I found something out that is really just strange.
Go on.
When this whole frost thing occurred, when the land, they told it, the land was still, and they said we are still turning the wheels of progress. But within that secret mission, I had a theory that is, um, you know, there must be something happen to the rotation of the Earth that, and boom, it makes the Frostland one chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this guy on the secret mission was trying to solve it, but it never, yeah, it succeeded at one point, but it failed at the next. Uh,
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
so they were doing some things in, should I say, with Steam.
Right.
Like we're now with volcanoes acting up and everything. I think they busted a volcano that messed with the rotation of the Earth, and then this giant eruption inside happens that produces the infinite amount of coal in the endless mode.
Maybe
That's still that is cooling so fast that actually creates more coal when the days goes on. So you have an infinite amount of it.
that's
Yes,
true.
but coal is made from fossil fuel. The fossil fuel and fossils are called skeletal bones in plants. You could say that the plant would be even harder pressed together, but I don't know if that would be true.
All right, so I
Well,
get
that was
go
my
on.
understanding of it.
Well, coal is made out of plants, which are basically dead beings that we buried under the ground after a lot of time.
Well,
Hmm.
But
just
coal, following to the nice site I just found, says it's like basically we borrow shit. Water comes over a lot of plants under the dead shit that is
mhm.
not alive. Then we bury it on the ground, and then after a lot of time, it gets compressed into shit. And then it gets compressed into coal. You could be correct if you say that that's like when the volcano exploded and it made the world like covered in like a big flag, a big how it called, big fog, like
Blanket,
big flag, big black fog.
right? That
You
would
could
prevent the
say
sun from
that
getting in.
you could say that the world became even colder, wherefore there was even more ice, wherefore there was even more pressure, wherefore there would be even more cold even faster. In
Hmm.
that way, it would make sense.
Yeah,
Exactly. That was my meaning.
yeah, it would make sense. That actually does make sense. They actually did such a thing, but I'm trying to figure out if it is that they went to the North Pole or the South Pole. That is what I'm trying to
I
figure
think they
out.
went to the north or to the Antarctic.
So if they went,
Wait, if there is a large crater, I know that the North Pole has one, but the South Pole hasn't.
well,
How do you know
remember,
that the North Pole has a crater?
Yes, the North Pole has a big crater, and you know the map. I'm in
oh,
the game itself. You know the map that's called. Let's go there. You know the map that is called Canyon?
oh,
That's actually the crater from the North Pole, taking inspiration out of that.
well, yes, it has been confirmed by unknown sources that inspiration came from that. But if there is a crater in the north, because they said that there is some form of large crater in Greenland, I'm wondering now if it's a combination of Greenland, Iceland, a portion of Alaska, and a large upper area of Canada, and that's where the game
It
actually
would also
takes
maybe
place.
it would also
Wait,
maybe say Russia.
wait, match that together, and you have actually the place where the canyon generator is found.
Mm-hmm. And it's a
Wait, that means my theory of a large earthquake is correct.
well, the truth, the as it relates to the large earthquake, there was a large earthquake in the game's lore, and that large earthquake actually did, to an extent, affect the the
Well, I don't know of a large earthquake, but I do know of a large volcano eruption.
yeah, there
I
were
forgot the
two.
name of the volcano,
I
but it
think
did erupt, and that mostly that has caused already one ice age.
there was one in Africa, the huge one that's in Africa, and there was another one, I think, somewhere in the US. It wasn't Yellowstone though, but those two volcanoes went up at the same time. And when those two volcanoes erupted, along with industrial activity and the failing of nature, shit went south. But the problem is as we were saying earlier before you came on Rainbow about the fact that when it comes to weather, it never really happens the same day. It takes a couple of months to actually set in. So if a volcano went up, the temperatures would take a little time to actually go down, if you get what I mean. Hey, Blood Mage, how are you doing? So, I mean, that alone, the fact that it took us so long to actually feel the effects of it. It suggests that a lot of the people never realized until probably late summer. But then the empires of the time knew about the situation way before that. Remember? They were working on a plan to
Hmm.
build such facilities up north, and they didn't tell anybody else about it. This is where
Yes,
the
because otherwise shit would go south when
yeah,
people
there would
knew
have
about
been
it.
total chaos. So this is where that stupid secret mission stuff came in with this secret weather station. All along, these guys knew that the world was going to collapse. They didn't decide to tell anybody. And as Rainbow said about the generators, they were well designed. Has anybody ever noticed that the area for the refugees is too well stocked with key resources? Doesn't it look a bit strange that there's so much resources and technology available to to that particular city? Doesn't that feel strange to you guys?
What city do you mean?
The refugee
Sorry, I did.
scenario. Remember it?
Oh, that scenario. Yeah, I have noticed, but
Which
I
scenario?
The refugees, they have so much resources and technology available to them.
I have not played GVG set, so I can't say that.
I
well,
go on.
if there was a large group of scientists that already know the secrets of the mission, if you play the mission and you go in as thinking, what's next? What's next? Be prepared for everything. Well, a secret mission makes sense in a way.
It does make sense in a way, but what I'm really trying to tell you guys is that the Lords financed the expedition. They financed the largest portion of it. And so the British Empire gave them a large section of the Frostland with their own generator and their own set of workers to actually provide them with fish, provide them with coal, provide them with a radio tower to connect with aircrafts that were flying around in the area, and they were even given ships to transport them to the area. I guess they got together at the radio tower, and then a short blizzard, like what happens in the endless mode, stranded them there, and then the refugees went over and claimed their generator site. Because I was saying to myself all along, it is not possible for one particular city to have so much resources, a fishing pond that is working, that they can actually just repair it and then they can get unlimited food from it. In addition to that, they have so many resource depots near them, and then there's an area to store the Lord's treasures, their prized possessions. And then there's another area with a engineer that was working, and there's so many crawlers in the area. It's just, isn't that kind of weird? Doesn't it sound like somebody was had really went to a very 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 long extent to actually create an area for one specific group of people? Why would they get so much resources if they weren't the ones that were financing it? If
So,
it's
from my understanding, I think that the Winter Home is an answer. The Fall of Winter Home, the DLC. I think that is a answer to it. You know, the large dreadnought, they went in
yes.
and they survived.
Oh
Maybe
shit.
the people who are in those dreadnoughts
Go
and
on.
repair them get most of the resources from the other bits.
Mm-hmm.
Get get
Yeah.
secretly to that location, dropped around it so many resources, then secretly go away without anyone telling. Once the generator was claimed for the refugees, boom,
You could be
hell breaks
right.
loose. Refugees come in and out all day.
You could be correct. It could be that the that is a possibility. I wonder how they would connect the story. They're probably listening and be like, that's a good way to connect the story. But if that's true, that the refugees, if it actually did happen, that the refugees are actually the survivors of Winterhome, that kind of says a lot, because these can.
You know the lords, right?
Yes, I know the Lords.
The lords were from Winterhome. You know the large revolution? And the people that were sent away from a large group of people and a large group of people. What if the size of that city, if you see all the homes, what if the people then was halved? So you know all the homes that were standing, all the structures that were there. What if it was halved when
Half
the
the population.
revolution was done?
Well, yeah, they
The other
actually.
ones straight out of the way. They became the lords because they survived in other means. They found a generator, want to claim that because they claimed it one time earlier, but they were thrown out.
Well, that could be a Well, that is actually a possibility of it actually happening. The only thing that kind of is an issue or a barrier to that theory actually working is the fact that there were multiple areas where riches were stored for them. So I'm thinking that the individuals, it's the opposite way around. The lords actually had the generator and the refugees stashed it or stole it. They took it from the lords without the lords knowing what happened. So that's what I think actually happened based on what they said. But it's very strange that
That
11th. Yeah, what you saying now?
that is a fact, actually.
I know.
That's a fact. Because the refugees, yes, they claimed it. The lords, they were already away to search for other resources to help.
Oops, sorry about that. Gotta get back to that Discord chat. Had a small technical difficulty a while ago. Coming back to it. I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. You guys still there?
Oh,
Yeah, what
did
were
I?
you saying?
I was saying, that the lords were, once they get out of the generator, or should I say, they were stacking supplies. They were a time away. They were stacking all the. They were searching
Resources.
all the supplies, all the
Mm-hmm.
location the farthest away from the generator to get supplies. It did cost immense amount of resource to build something like we have snow scooters and everything.
Yeah.
Like to get like the upgrade yeah, like the boosted scout slide
Sleds and that stuff, yeah.
shoes or whatever. The lords had that already, but they make it a little bit faster and warmer so that they can walk faster. So they were far away searching resources. Refugees came, saw the resources they had left behind, took the
Mm-hmm.
generator, then they scouted on, but then the lords came back with enough resources
That
because they stashed it another way around that you find with your scouts in these places.
mm-hmm. Check this out.
Yeah.
Hold on, check this out, guys. So Blood Mage sent a message and he's saying, I'm a builder, but I can't fill the large game without it crashing. And why can't? Oh, he retracted his statement. All right, let's get back to it. What were you guys saying now?
What about Kakatoa?
So the thing is with these guys, after the lords decided that they were going to come back from the radio mass, because these guys had connections. They had connections to the outside world. So this means that there are other cities around the Frostland that the lords might have been communicating with and saying, hey, update 2000, whatever it is. Outpost X, Y, and Z, we are at the radio station requesting pickup because so and so has died because we're not able to sustain the area. Generator tower in crater that has partially collapsed, requesting evac or something like that. And then Blizzard comes in, radio silence. Somebody takes the radio equipment, smashes it, and then says, fuck this shit, we're going back to the generator. Then sees smoke and says, okay, somebody's here already. And boom, the game starts. So
That is actually all the information that I actually have heard, read it, and seen. But upon theorizing that is actually 100% true. That's a fact.
So
I think.
more than likely that's what happened because when the scouts went there, the radio equipment was missing. So somebody had to move with that equipment and smash it because they might have known that the relief team was not able to actually get them. So if you know that the relief team is dead, you're gonna smash the information about it so it doesn't create chaos. And that's what I think the Lords did. And the thing is that without these guys, there would be no generators because Her Majesty sold almost all the crown jewels just to make sure that she had a way to get out. But we don't know if she got out, but we do know that the rich aristocrats did. The writers, the authors, the musicians, anybody that was somebody within New London. And here's another thing that's interesting as well. The the fact that it took so long to actually travel to these particular areas. It took months. But what are your guys' opinions on it?
Even years.
Yeah.
You guys, I'll be right back. Take over the show for a little bit. You guys have the helm for a bit.
Fucking delicious.
Will do, man.
But yeah, so think about it. But is he actually live, or is he just recording this? I guess he's
He is still live. I know it. But I have a YouTube channel as well. If he closes his channel, I can always start up my recording equipment.
Yeah, but But yeah, I think that sound which volcano was again that caused the massive what's called the massive cooling of the earth because of the thing.
Well, the volcano must be in one center place, large, has a big magma container stored in it, must erupt with a force. With such a force that the Earth slightly rotated to the wrong angle caused that snowstorm. So it might be somewhere because the closest is USA and Canada to cause that type of earthquake.
Yeah,
and
okay,
eruption.
So it was not a super volcano, but it was a one below it. There was a category 6 eruption. This volcano is in Indonesia. It is Krakatoa.
Krakatoa. Wait, if a eruption happened from Krakatoa, then in US, in a other central part, maybe that's caused it.
Yeah, because Krakatoa was in, let's see, it was in an, it's an Indonesian volcano and it erupted in 1883. 1883 is 1 year before you begin.
For the Frostpunk,
yes, because it took
for the new home
years to set
begins,
those
that
things up.
chapter.
Like in 1884, they started doing that shit.
Interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Very interesting, guys. That is
And it's
interesting.
also a volcanic island. Indonesia is full of fucking volcanoes.
Yeah, every chain reaction happens there. That must cause that freaking eruption.
Krakatoa explode and Krakatoa like boom, and then some other ones like fall like same, and then the whole world is just like we have too much volcanic ash.
Yeah.
Guys,
That is actually very, very good.
that is actually interesting. That is an interesting perspective, or I would say take on it. But yeah, that the
Yeah,
Krakatoa.
local Lord Liberian. Your channel is great.
Thanks, man. It's all for the community. That's why I created this thing.
You're always welcome.
Dave,
So
but
there's also a place called Patagonia, but I don't seem to be able to find it. But it seemed to be a kind of like a big ass explosion there as well.
so you're saying
But
in go on.
yeah, they
Um,
seem to think that it's actually like a giant. It wasn't a giant volcano that exploded there. They think it was actually a meteorite.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was trying to tell them that when volcanoes erupt, these things can shoot boulder size rocks from extremely far distances. So it would look like it's a meteor, but it's just a piece of volcanic rock flying across the atmosphere. 'Cause those things are.
So to say that, yeah, because they do say that the game does say that the gate that says the gate in Patagonia,
Mhm.
unknown, wasn't actually a meteor strike.
So they're
So
saying
they
that.
think it was a meteor strike by an American.
Oh yeah, they're gonna think that because if a couple huge volcanoes explode and you see large chunks of rocks flying from the sky, the first thing that you're thanks,
No,
Sam.
but if you think about it, they say that seven volcanoes explode, and they
Mm-hmm.
think that they can't do it alone. And what are seven Indonesian volcanoes? But they say that if you think about it, you can do it in two ways. You can think a meteorite landed into Earth, it smashed the Earth, which caused an earthquake, which then triggered
causes a
volcanic
chain
yeah.
volcano reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Or you could say that the volcano has been triggered and thereby shot a glass and a piece of stone into the atmosphere, which then came crashing down again with the force of like how it normally goes when you have a meteorite. So it shot it out, but then they came down again and went through the atmosphere again. When something goes through the atmosphere, it's very hot. And when it's big enough, it becomes a big ass meteorite.
Yeah, and then when it
Because then it
comes,
doesn't burn up.
if it doesn't burn up, it's and if it explodes over a particular area, if that shit explodes over an area, it's gonna flatten everything in that area.
In
So
its path.
yeah,
Yes.
because that shit happened in Russia way back in like after World War I and II or something. There was this
And also
huge
one
explosion.
Yeah, that was caused in World War II.
Yeah.
wasn't there also one very like one let's see, wasn't there one yeah in 2013 on 15th February 2013 the meteorites by just Chelyabinsk exploded.
Uh-huh.
They had a meteorite already here.
So it exploded over the area, and then because of the explosion over the area, it flattened all the trees and created a crater.
Yes.
That it that right there, that right there tells me a lot as to what might have happened. So X could have erupted, and then nature started to feel the effects of the Industrial Revolution. And in the midst of that, there was a small meteor shower where one and two meteors exploded over a large area of land, simulating a somewhat seismic activity to occur, which then led to another volcano or an increase in the volcano's ability to erupt to an extent, intensity wise, then that eventually leads to the creation of the cooling effect, which is what volcanoes are supposed to do. And then that cooling effect then leads to the deep freeze, kind of slowly matriculating in and massaging the planet until it has fully raped the planet in ice. And then the ice would
Yeah.
expand, and anything that is dead or partially dead would then get moved by the ice down into the ocean or of the sort. So, Mr. Frostpunk 11-bit Studios team and the guys, have you guys ever noticed another thing about the truth about the storm is the location of the generator? Still on the meteor topic, but in terms of what it actually caused. Remember that glaciers actually move. So,
Yes.
I have seen
Okay.
it in Frostpunk a couple of times when I played the endless mode flat maps on on the endurance mode.
yeah, there's one with the large crater. There's a very flat map, and there the cities in between.
Yeah, and it moves when you not build, when you not are building there, moves towards the generator
Hmm.
slowly, day by day. If a snowstorm hits, it will move a little bit faster, taking your build space away if you're not aware.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm really saying, is that the ice itself, if not regulated with enough heat and structural supports will become necessary in the future, is that the ice could force the entire area to be overrun and eventually be covered up. So that is another threat to the cities, since as they're being constructed in craters. So
In endless mode.
yes, that especially. I wanted to say this to you guys. Some people are saying, "Oh, this is a spoiler," but has anybody heard of the Mount Diablo Pass or Death Mountain? Anybody heard of that story? The campers that went up into the mountains and
I
something.
heard that story. I heard it.
So there is a Mount Diablo Pass in Frostpunk. It is to the northeast of it's an Easter egg. It's to the northeast of the city if you're playing with the large crater. But it only appears about a day, I think 30 or 40. And
Well,
what
I did have that on day 25, so
so I guess it varies.
yeah, it varies between playthroughs. I have heard, I heard as well that there are no survivors sometimes.
Yeah,
It could be a bug.
no, it's actually not a bug. There's some areas where you will just find bodies either partially eaten or they're dead. They're dead, but it's like some whatever killed them or whatever killed them, it didn't touch them. They just somehow froze in place, and you could see the fear in their eyes, and it's kind of creepy. Cause then you're like, what?
It looks like a how you would say it, because that is
Sasquatch.
going in the category of mutants. Sometimes you will get a event when you play endurance mode on event. You will see sometimes the hunter's habitat is empty or some sort. They have to find new stuff, and then when they found it, go. But you will get an immensely food boost, raw meat boost,
Yeah.
and I think that are possibly creatures have mutated in something else, something much more dangerous, and I think that the scouts or who built that there have seen that monster.
And moved
Yeah,
somewhere
and
else.
moved the bodies.
That could be it, or whatever it is that attacked them might have eaten the bodies as well. So I'm thinking like every time, yes, yes, there he goes. Asteroid danger zones. Perfect, 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 perfect. That's what I wanted to see, and it's showing on the disc.
I am playing the canyon map and I have a very good city. But sometimes I will see large unusually snowflakes coming down. Unusually large for the game itself.
Well, large snowflakes wouldn't be very like weird in this game because snow would be really easy to form because it's minus 30 degrees at start.
Mm-hmm.
I
If you
mean,
think
so
about it, the rain
I
that would have formed would have made it into a giant ice ball the further you go.
Welcome to the chat, Blood Mage.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
I
Hey, welcome, man. Welcome, welcome. The more members, the better. What were you guys saying now about
Okay, and
the?
we were talking about that giant snowflakes weren't really weird in this game setting.
It is weird.
yeah, unusually large snowflakes. I thought about snowballs or something.
Yeah.
Like
What?
particularly large snowballs that are not formed by humans because they can't form a snowball that large.
Hail? Like, hail can be almost the size of a person's head in some cases. Like, the world record is the size of a baby.
Shit.
That's a big hill.
That is
Uh,
that is a big hill, cause
I mean a particular large ball that is larger than normal. Some snowflakes, if you get around sometimes 50 degrees in the game, sometimes a large wind will blow those snowflakes.
Must be a large chunk of snow.
Yeah, a large chunk of snow that's be large, but if there was another earthquake or a lawine, the
Mhm.
city will be covered over and swept away. That is possibly more strange than it is.
Oh yes, it is. Oh yes, it is. And then Mr. 11-bit Studios team decided to say this. Guess what, guys? Every single time a storm comes in, the snowfall is so great it covers over other areas and exposes new ones. So you can add that to the list of things that can basically cover the entire city. And the snowfall increases at such a fast rate, guys, that it's kind of scary. The first
And
you can see snow at your feet, and then the next day it's over your head, and you're like, "What the fuck?" You guys
yeah,
ever
the
notice
heat
that?
of the generator would be the only thing that would melt the water, but you'd have serious flooding issues. It doesn't
Oh
make
yeah,
much sense.
oh yeah, oh yeah. He's got a point there about the flooding issues because when it floods or when that water starts to flow and then it comes in contact with that cold air and that ice, that is dangerous. I mean, imagine being caught in
It's
a
a
flood.
lethal combination. Trust me, I've lived in Canada all my life. It's a bad combination, especially for your plumbing.
Yeah, and really hard in the Dutch too, because I am living in the Netherlands.
hmm And that shit fucks you up. But the thing about the snow covering over the city, I think is one of the many things that the inhabitants actually fear, and that's why these bitches will work overtime just to ensure that the generator is going. Well, the captain will force them to. So that's another thing. The thing is, here's another thing that I am thinking will eventually have to make its way into Frostpunk. The land dreadnoughts should be able to survive a storm.
Yeah, but the ones we find in the endless mode are out of fuel. Like, think we could repair one and make it functional again.
Well, if we could repair it, then we could send it. What do you think, Rainbow? Send another dreadnought to find another area to build?
Here's an idea I've been having. Why don't we have, like, someone in a blimp and act as a trader for goods and resources and people and stuff like that?
Well, I was thinking about that for the longest while. That was one of the things that I was asking myself. I mean, you've seen it in Anno where this guy comes on an aircraft carrier of the sort and he has stuff to trade and then he disappears right before the tsunami. So maybe the thing is it hasn't been thought of as yet because I'm trying to push these guys to make the endless mode into a somewhat final setting where they can have other scenarios but like you purchase a story for probably $9 or something, and you would all the technology that you have purchased from that particular scenario would make its appearance in the endless mode. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that because I want to get the trading post back. Really, I can't be mad about this, but I want the freaking trading post is back.
I know. I want.
Personally, it would be a godsend. Like finding steed cores in the wastelands can be really hard. Like, but trading a couple thousand resources for it, I'd gladly pay it.
Me too. I will gladly pay for Steam cores.
They're so hard to acquire, especially like in like I've got the medium achievements, like 100 days and survive on medium just recently. God, it's so hard to find Steam cores in the late game. It's like virtually bearing. Like you can't find any.
You know how you can build Steam cores if you just build a factory and it had a ability to build Steam cores, to find a blueprint to build Steam cores. You will be set for a while.
You'd be set
There's a
forever. You'd be set forever. But the thing is, well, I wouldn't say but. The problem is that the city that can build Steam cores is the Tesla city. So what 11-bit studios could do is that with the endless mode, you can have a makeshift dreadnought that you can send on expeditions outside of the region that you're in, and you can
because
go on.
personally, this is my personal experience. I love the endless mode. It's really fun, but it feels a little hollow, a tad. Like honestly, I think they should try to let us explore both sides of Order and Faith, and like add a few things to make it interesting. Because after you collect all the relics and like get the city's infrastructure and stuff set up, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, it is. So next, yeah, because it was one of the things I was afraid of when 11-bit studios initially released its first scenarios. I was worried about that, and then like after when I saw them start to work on the endless mode, I got scared again later on when I started playing, and I realized that there was no outpost and all the technology from the other scenarios weren't added in. So it kind of made me
Look,
very scared.
I would have loved to have an automaton move through the Frostlands.
You can
It
do
would,
that.
I
You can make
think
it on scouts.
Yeah, but
and
only in the
like
end.
finding a rope. Oh, sorry.
Go
You
on.
go on.
yeah, I think 11-bit Studios is planning on that. But you know how some of the expeditions can be turning out.
Mhm.
Some
Yeah.
of the expeditions can be turned out disappointing, but I think, yeah, so as I said, 11-bit Studios is planning on their next major DLC. Just like Empire of the Undergrowth, they're doing small tests. I think that they have a plan to make everything in the Frostpunk lore work. But they are doing it in